Awesome. Why can we say that growth in our faith will strengthen us to affect public policy with our beliefs?
Because we have to have strong faith to be able to publicly proclaim and to evangelize.
Exactly.
Confidence in what we're doing is right and good.
Look at the gifts of the Holy Spirit. Fortitude, courage. When we talk about transforming our world and transforming, it's going to happen by who? By us, but through our young church. And the more that we are able to assist them to be strong in their faith, to grow in their faith, and this is why it is absolutely so essential, the gift of youth ministry, is if people are not there strengthening our young church, then where are we at in our world? It takes a strong faith to engage politics, to engage public policy, to engage culture and society. And so what an honored and blessed ministry that we have the opportunity to be in, to make those changes and to be that gift to the world. Chapter 3, I want to begin, I actually want to reflect on this reading from Pope John the 23rd that's in the beginning. So let's take just a moment to read through this. It's on page 21. Actually, 21 is not on the actual page, so it's page 22 and flip back one. Begin with point 1 on that page where be filled with hope and faith. Do not be prophets of gloom. Let's just read through this silently. You've already read through it once, but let's read through it again so we can reflect upon it. It's a funny story. I think it's funny. But, I was in Rome when Blessed John the 23rd was beatified. And on his beatification day, it was Pentecost Sunday. And if you go to Rome, he's in a crystal casket. His body is exposed in a crystal casket in St. Peter's Basilica. So directly under the altar of this big picture of St. Jerome, there is John the 23rd. And on Pentecost Sunday, they processed with his body, which had been dead for many a year, that they exhumed from the grave. They processed with his body in this crystal casket around St. Peter's Square, and there's literally probably 30,000 people for the Pentecost Sunday Mass, and they're processing with this dead body. And people that come to these Masses are not all Catholic. In fact, probably about 50% of them are non-Catholics. They're Hindus, they're Jews, they're atheists, but they're there because the Pope is there and because you're in Rome and it's a Vatican celebration and you can get tickets to him. And I remember talking to a classmate of mine. She was a single mother, and she was studying in Rome, and she had her child there, and she had gone to the Mass at the Vatican. There's this dead body being processed around, and she was trying to tell her son that, the boy was like, is that person alive? Because he's just laying down, and she's like, no, he's dead. She said, did he just die? And he's like, no, he died quite a long time ago. And we heard our chat afterwards. She said only Catholics who process a dead body around and circle it around a crowd of 50-some thousand people and then bring it into a church and shrine it in a crystal casket. And you have to really ask yourself the question, are we nuts? Or do we know something that other people just don't comprehend? And it's really the ridiculousness of it is if you think of it in a totally secular sense, it's the creepiest and weirdest thing in the world. But if we believe that man's body, that his immortal soul is in heaven, and one day this man's body as well will be taken up to heaven at the second coming of Christ, then it's a beautiful thing. At the same time, it's still kind of creepy. So if you go to Rome and you ever see his body laying out there, and of course Roncalli High School in our own diocese, Roncalli is named after Pope John the 23rd. Archbishop Roncalli became John the 23rd. So when they named Roncalli, they named it after John the 23rd, who began the Second Vatican Council. So, in rereading his goals for catechesis, if we look at what the Second Vatican Council was ultimately about, what are your thoughts? What jumped out to you as being, yes, that is what we need to be doing, that is what we're still doing, that's what we struggle with? Thoughts on what John the 23rd said?
I think it's interesting that, the 5 key points, I think, are still so true today. Wanting to be a message of hope, know our faith, our doctrine, our teaching. And I think a part of me why I embraced Catholicism, when I had a choice in my own journey, was because of the mercy, and the redemption that comes in just being open to change, open to conversion, open to learning, and owning the different teachings of our church when it's revealed to you. And when you're at a point in your life and in your journey where you're ready to tackle that or wrestle with that. But then I also think back, and I just remember as a kid, what our masses were like in the 70s. I mean, I was an altar server. I went to a very progressive church, and so I was an altar server as a kid, and I just can just have those glimpses. I don't know if there's a lot of doctrine taught back then. I don't recall that, but it just seemed like that after Vatican II that there's this explosion of just freedom and a giddiness, I think, and just being caught up to be able to articulate your faith and own your faith. But somewhere along the way, that pendulum swung a little too far, because then you look up and a generation later, we lost some of what the original goals were as far as what are we grounded in. But I think it's all a journey.
It is. It is. And real quick, and I think that it's key that Marlene tuned in on mercy, because when we present doctrine to young people, what is the first thing that will shut them off? When they feel judged, when they feel condemned. And we all know the people in our churches and in my own parishes as a pastor. There are the people that, and they're God bless them. They're fervent and they love the Lord, and they will die for the church in a second. You put them in front of a group of young people, of them presenting the truth of the church, and they're going to die. So how do we present the truths of the church with mercy, with love, and with invitation? That has to be, our goal and our mission, is to present them with truth, to present the fullness of the truth with mercy and as an invitation, and not as a divine hammer that comes down to say this is the truth, accept it, or get the hell out. That mercy is so key, so key.
I just think for me that's always a struggle in youth ministry. Do you teach and help foster love of Christ, relationship with the Lord, and teachings of the faith? And it's always that tension. My personal journey is when I came to have a love for Christ and accepted a love of Christ for myself, then I wanted to know about the church and what it teaches and how I can live that love out. But I said, whether you're 46 or 16, it's still that journey. If you have a relationship with a Christ that loves you, and you know that love, and you accept that love, and you live in that love, then you want to do right by that love and gain the knowledge to live that and to profess that. But I just see that's a tension in catechesis, and so when you talk about the mercy, you can talk to your blue in your face, but if you don't feel the love of God, then any rule or any teaching of the church can get lost in that if you don't feel worthy of it.
I think you're key right there, because, and we struggle with anytime that you plan a retreat, what's the always struggle is, okay, where's the relational aspects, where's the prayer aspects, where's the doctrine or the fact aspect, the knowledge aspect.